Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this very, very special endeavor. And at the outset, I have to thank the union ministers who spared the time from their busy schedule to make this conversation happen. And also, one of them has spared their residence and their lawns for us to have this conversation in the winter sun. So, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, namaste, and thank you very much at the outset. And Muralidharan ji, thank you so much. Muralidharan ji, thank you so much for making the time and having this conversation. The endeavor, ladies and gentlemen, is to ask them, those who are part of government, those who are also active Karyakartas of the party as in the BJP, what their challenges are looking ahead into 2023, but more importantly, reflect on this very eventful year that is 2022 that's past us. The year that we emerged out of the pandemic, the year that the Prime Minister set a roadmap for us as our Azadi Ka Amrit Kal, the year when we completed 75 years of independence. So there's a lot that's happened. Let's start with the electoral gains and political aspect. 2022, Dr. Jitendra Singh, started with elections. 2022 has ended with elections. And if you look at the scorecard, it's 5 for the BJP, 1 for Aam Aadmi Party and 1 for the Congress Party. Would you look at it as a successful year electorally for you?
No, certainly also because under Prime Minister Modi, there have been many firsts, both in governance, in government, as well as in the electoral politics. I think this is for the first time Modi ji has given us a model which is sustainable. It has sustained for the last 22 years. He being the longest serving head of the government, first as Chief Minister and then as Prime Minister. So this is a model of governance, also model of a political culture which has sustained over 2 decades and promises to sustain even in future. The second hallmark of this is that it has defied the principle of diminishing returns. Any model, whatever be the domain, tends to lose its shine, also its acceptance with the passage of time. Here, he has provided a model which provides increasing dividends with each passing day, both electorally, also governance, also as far as India's esteem in the international fora is concerned. So I think this is a kind of a landmark year or also a turning point as India completes its 75 years of independence, both in terms of governance as far as our approach towards handling both matters related to government are concerned and also politics as well. And I think this is also a year which has given us huge esteem as we move on in the course of conversation in the various departments, in the various areas which have raised India's stature. Now, for example, I'll quote one example and then we can move on. Space technology. Our space journey started when Russia or the then Soviet Union and USA were on the verge of landing a human being on the surface of moon. And we were just starting. We were just singing nursery rhymes, Chande Mama Dur Ke and all that.
Correct.
But so much of potential and passion was there among the founding fathers, Sarabhai and others. And Prime Minister Modi, after he took over, gave it a quantum jump by liberalizing certain barriers, by doing away with the taboos of the past, by opening the space department to the private sector. The result today is that we have so far launched as many as about 385 foreign satellites. And you will be amazed when I tell you out of 386, 351 have been launched during the Modi regime. So almost 90% of the foreign satellites launched during this regime. We have earned about 220 euros out of this, out of which 187 million euros earned during
so 220 million euros and about 187 million euros have come.
And if you take in the terms of the American satellites, because I mean it's a matter of pride that you are also launching US out of $115 million made so far, 98 have been earned during this regime of last 8 years. So it was 90% of foreign satellites. So much of credibility, so much of trust has been earned during the Modi era.
I think it started when the PM said that at the what costs a Hollywood movie like Gravity, for a lesser cost we were able to send a ship towards Mars, and India becomes an active space market. So obviously it adds to the levels. But I'll go back to the electoral aspect. that a lot of it is happening towards the north of India. But the same challenge also comes in terms of retaining your existing belt. So
No,
now,
certainly, I think to add to what Murli ji was saying, Modi ji is our greatest asset. Asset for the nation, for the people of India, and also for the party. And even if you rise above the political lines, I think this is one Prime Minister, if you research over the last 75 years, who has the capacity to bind the entire heterogeneous Indian subcontinent into a single cord. We have seen him traveling north, south, even northeast.
Yeah.
So wherever he goes, regardless of whether the state is being ruled by the BJP or even other party, people, queue around just to welcome him. So he's kind of a common cord running. And in a country as heterogeneous as India, which is very difficult to, because you have hundreds of lifestyles, hundreds of food cultures, dress preferences, and we have seen prime ministers in the past. Some of them had their catchment area in central India, some of them primarily in north, some of them, but you didn't have a pan-India presence. Now, from my experience in Northeast, I tell you, in 2014, when the just government came in, and we used to organize, a Prime Minister, I think in his first term itself, visited Northeast at least 50 times. So a lot of effort and a lot of, commitment has gone behind. It was more, number of times he visited Northeast so far is more than the number of times put together of all the Prime Ministers in the past. And even some of the remotest states.
Yeah.
So he has actually struck a chord. Heart to heart, emotional cord. So I'll tell you, in the early years, in 2014 itself, he was to come to Meghalaya, which was then ruled by another party, other people. We didn't have much of a base politically as a party. We also requested for a rally, which we got, and we were then apprehensive. How would we manage? But believe me, without any effort from our side, when Modi ji landed there were small school children in their beautiful uniforms queuing up right from the airport up to the destination, holding hands, like these small children do, and wearing masks with Modi ji's face. So I think that is something, and it's been a great advantage for this country. That's a turning point. You have, as a head of government, somebody who is equally, identified with across the country by all sections, by all kinds of people.
But these are also nations from where narratives like RSS, BJP's political Hindutva, Hindu fascist, Hindu nationalist leader, Hindu nationalist party, these kind of narratives are also spun. So do you encounter that in your dealings, because you are also saddling a gamut of other ministries?
Anand, now as far as the issue that you were discussing with Murli ji, I think in the international fora also, and that has a bearing on these perceptions which they carry about India. We often we often also refer that Prime Minister Modi is the longest serving head of government.
Yeah.
What is not often referred to is that he is also among the senior most leaders in the world, senior most heads of government. During Modi's tenure, you've seen presidencies changing in USA. You have seen prime ministers changing one after the other in UK, in all the other countries as well. So he's also looked upon as a kind of person who would give them cues, also
He's a
show
global
them.
leader.
As a global leader.
Global leader who can also give a lead. And I would say that world today is also ready to be led by India under Modi. Now it's up to us, the commoners, to prepare ourselves, to contribute to that role under Prime Minister Modi. So that is one aspect. So that is also leading on to the change of perception. Because if there are perceptions like this about BJP, it's also because we didn't get much of an exposure. For about half a century, we were not in power. And as far as you were asking about the Karyakarta, I think one peculiar feature of BJP is that once a Karyakarta, always a Karyakarta. His responsibility may change, his position may change, but that remains ingrained. And as was rightly being said by Murli ji, because BJP is a party totally dedicated to the cause of nation, and therefore government becomes an instrument to carry forward that agenda of our organization. And these perceptions were created by those vested interests who wanted to keep this organization away.
Correct.
Because they were feeling threatened from this ideology which was so much grounded in Mother India. Now I tell you, in 2014 when I went to the Northeast the first time, I had never been to Northeast before that. That was the first time when I landed in Guwahati. I was wearing all woolens because I thought largest river of the country, Brahmaputra, and I know how thand it would be. And then I realized that it was,
quite equatorial, the climate is.
Moderate throughout the year, so I had to remove all. But there I realized so much of perception कि अब ये बीजेपी वाले आ गए हैं, आरएसएस वाले आ गए, हमारा मीट बंद करा देंगे, हमारा खान पान, हमारा रसोई. So it took a lot of effort actually for us. We would tell them, I was visiting houses of all and sundry, and I would ask them, now I had meal with you, did I peep into your kitchen? So that perception was by motivation created. When we set up, for example, our under the presidentship of Amit Shah, a campaign was taken up to have one, BJP office, district level, on all these states. And in Northeast, we didn't have in the state level. First time when it was set up in Mizoram, to begin with, we couldn't even find office bearers. So then, with a lot of effort, we had one senior person, a lady, who accepted to become the president of the Mahila Morcha. And since this process was going on, so in 2 months' time, I went there about thrice. When I was there the third time, she said, I want to have a word with you separately. And she took me aside and she said, now this is your third visit in 2 months, and there's a whisper going around that you are coming here because there is a plan to start conversion. I said, man, do you think so? She said, no, I know it's not like that. But this is something which is being built up. So what is the answer that I have to do? I said, if you have to give the answer, then the best answer would be that if this was our agenda, then this would be a country of 130 million Hindus, which is not so. Mizoram is, virtually a Christian state.
Yeah.
So I think
those
now
who ran the conversion over the decades were now coming out to say that BJP is coming to do conversion.
The pot calling the kettle black for vested reasons. And with Prime Minister Modi having, gained acceptability across these sections, this has helped. His presence has helped us also to get over this misperceptions which were being created about this organization. What I was trying to add to that is quite in contrast to the popular perception which was thought to be made out of vested interest purely. You would see in the 8 years of the Modi rule, what all has been done for the minorities, for the weaker sections, for the scheduled castes, was not done in the earlier 70 years. Whether it is triple talaq, whether it is a huge lot of series of reforms for tribal community, for scheduled caste, this is done only now. Whereas it's the Congress which was painting us as anti-Muslim, anti-scheduled, but much has been done, much more than what they did. Rather, they were exploiting the sentiment to their advantage. They would get alliance with the Muslim League in the other place. So they had no ideology at all. There was no conviction. We have worked with the courage of conviction. And the other part of it is that I think there is also now the indication of the people's mindset not ready to accept this false myths being created about BJP is also evident from one small example I'll give you. Whenever a dignitary from center visited Kashmir Valley in the past, just go through the last 3 decades of it, Pakistan would give a hartal call and shops would shut down in Srinagar.
Correct.
But now you see, recently Mr. Amit Shah was there in a very successful 3-day trip. He held a series of public rallies, hugely attended. Not a single shop closed down.
Shut down.
Similarly, we saw earlier there was a visit by the Raksha Mantri. So it's the other way around. The common man now, and I think that's the biggest, change happening, is not ready to accept this false perception which is being sought to be created about BJP or RSS. When I said the change in political culture, I think one of the hallmarks is under Prime Minister Modi, we have tried to reach out those who actually required us, regardless of their religion, caste, creed, not even asked whether they voted for us or not. Now I'll give you another example. In Mizoram, for example, in 2017, I learned that now there was a technology, there was specialized fruit parks.
Correct.
And Israel was, trying to install these units. Mr. Cameron was the ambassador, so I got in touch with him. He said, yes, we have. So I asked him where was the most suitable place for you to set up one. He said Mizoram. And the first such specialized citrus fruit park was set up in Mizoram. Now, Mizoram is a state where we hardly have any MLAs or any government being formed, in near future or ahead. But regardless of that, that is what Prime Minister Modi has sought to, propagate and sought to create an atmosphere. Then leave it to the people whom they vote for.
Correct.
And as Murli ji is rightly saying, people have now begun to realize that we are working with a certain conviction, certain courage of conviction, and very objective parameters. Like, for example, it was Prime Minister Modi who gave us the concept of aspirational districts.
Correct.
No longer backward districts. What was backward district? The Congress party would create backward districts, and backward district was my district, his district. Whoever was the minister had one district from his constituency. If I became railway minister, the first thing I would do is to set up a railway station in my village, regardless of whether they were passengers or not. Modi ji has done away with that. That's why I said he's broken many of the taboos of the past and taken, out-of-box decisions. Now, aspirational district is a concept based totally on objective parameters, about 41 indices.
Correct.
And separate indices, health, sanitation, education, etc. Startup. Prime Minister said from the Red Fort, stand up India, start up India. And is it not amazing that before Prime Minister Modi came in, we hardly had 350 startups in India. Today we have almost 80,000 and more than 100 unicorns. Biotechnology sector, we had only 50 startups, only 50. Today we have nearly 5,500. And that's all. And we are the one in India in biotechnology who have come out with the first DNA vaccine, first nasal vaccine. So I think a lot of effort and a lot of persistent micro-management, follow-up done by Prime Minister Modi.
So if that is working...
that has also helped the change of mindset, not only in the political class, even in the masses. I tell you, once this aspiration list came out in the newspapers, since I was to an extent involved in this, I started receiving phone calls from my constituency. Arey sahab, kya fayda, aap Delhi baithe hain. आप अपने क्षेत्र का एक भी जिला नहीं बीच में पड़ा. So it took me some effort to explain to them, look here, airs have changed.
Yeah.
It's now Modi era.
So just because I'm in government does not mean that my district will be... And now let me just bring that to Jitendra Singh ji, because his domain is Jammu and Kashmir. He's from there. And the place or the theatre of action where we would look at a two-front war is Jammu, Kashmir, Ladakh, Himachal. This is that region. So how settled is Jammu and Kashmir at the moment? And in the spring of 2023, are we looking at elections there?
No, see, how settled is known out by the fact that this year we had the heaviest ever tourist season. Home tourism was not very popular in Kashmir Valley. This time, not only it gained popularity, it got exhausted. People didn't have accommodation in their houses.
Correct.
And some of the hotels started charging exorbitantly. There had to be interventions to check them. So that's the kind of, popularity suddenly that has come out. Because I always used to say for the last 3-4 years that a common man walking in the streets of Srinagar, in the lanes of Srinagar, wants to move on as a part of the development journey led by Prime Minister Modi. It's only a wheel of fear which prevents him. Also because, very much like Kerala, the youth of Kashmir is highly aspirational, very forward-looking. And he has the wisdom and the intuition to sense the opportunities of tomorrow. And he doesn't want to miss the bus, the kind of, opportunities that have been initiated by Prime Minister Modi across the country. You have now toppers in civil services, toppers in IIT, JEs, in all the... So, that has suddenly now come out after, the security situation improved. We don't have any stone peltings for the last so many years. As I said, Hartal call was given for Pakistan, the shops will be shut. So, that era of those diktats is over. The perpetrators of that diktats are also either exhausted or fatigued or have been, they have found their losing their receptivity among the masses. And that is exactly the change now. I think the change at the mass level, which is happening.
So you're saying society is changing.
And I can see that in the next 2023, as you say, or I would say in the next 25 years, I've been holding this view with a certain amount of conviction and research, when Prime Minister Modi says Amrit Kal, in the next 25 years, India would be reaching the top when we are a century-old independent country. The entire value addition to our economy is going to be done by these hill states and coastal states. And I have a scientific reason. Because, see, all the Himalayan resources have so far remained unexplored, which is Jammu Kashmir, Himachal, Uttarakhand, Arunachal. We have a huge aroma. Recently, we launched Aroma Mission, lavender entrepreneurship. Those are the startups who have taken up because there's a new genre of agri-tech startups.
Correct.
They are rolling in millions. Similarly, the coastal area. It is this time, for the first time in 75 years, that Deep Ocean Mission or Deep Sea Mission found a mention in the Independence Day address of Prime Minister. For 2 consecutive years, 2021, 2022. Because there's a realization at all levels that these resources have remained. We have the largest coastal area in the world, 7,500 kilometers long. We are the only country which have an ocean named after us. I was telling some friends from Australia the other day, I said, you come from a place which is a country, which is a continent, which is an island. But your ocean is not named Australia. My ocean is named because my ancestors knew there's so much of,
wealth here.
Sampati. Wealth.
And I think the Jambudvipa was understood as the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, we have both living, non-living. We have the fisheries, we have non-living minerals, metals. And so entire contribution is going to come because this was unattended areas. And that is going to take India to the top.
And part of this ocean belt that you talked about also has a 56-kilometer long stretch from Pamban to Mannar. So there was an answer that you gave in Parliament. So I want you to clear the air on Ram Setu and what the government's position is on Ram Setu.
I think some mischievous people who want to create a controversy out of everything, and not your channel, but others who are looking for a subject for a 9 o'clock debate, and they get hungry in the morning and they'll start looking for it. The matter of fact is, all of us agree, this is a matter of faith, and nobody denies the existence of Ram Setu. It's a part of our history, part of our mythology, part of our belief which has sustained us over the centuries. The answer simply said, the question was about space technology having made a headway in coming out with the evidence. So the answer simply meant to convey that space technology has already undertaken projects to work on several ancient structures, Harappan civilization, other civilization, so also Ram Setu. And they have discovered some indications of structures.
Continuity of the structure.
Structures in continuity, some shoals in continuity, which could indicate the presence of a bridge. So that, in fact, the answer substantiates the presence of bridge.
Ram Setu.
Not the other way around, as some have sought to create it.
Okay, because the court said that the government has to disprove that there is a Ram Setu. So is the government trying to disprove the existence?
No, government has no such intention. In fact, I think this is for the first time. That gives me an opportunity to add. Prime Minister Modi, for example, I am also looking after CSIR. In CSIR, we have a traditional knowledge library, traditional knowledge digital library, TKDL, it is known as. In the UPA government, this was set up in the early NDA government. UPA government made its role very limited. Limited its acceptability only to those who had patents. It was only recently, through a cabinet decision, Prime Minister Modi has made it accessible to all. Private or public, whoever, because the idea is to combine our ancient knowledge with the modern capacities to find a synergism and the best outcomes out of that. There's a lot much to learn from our ancient knowledge and to combine with the current technology. So we have made it accessible, of course, with certain terms and conditions depending upon.
There's also work on Buddhism which is happening in terms of it's a world religion that has emanated out of India. And I remember once the Prime Minister had said Gita, Gandhi and Gautam Buddha.
Shall I tell you something? Even in the construction of the Ram Mandir, it was our technology from CSIR, the heliborne technology, which was used to discover the presence of water underneath. So we are, optimally trying to synergize the modern technology with the ancient ethos and the ancient heritage. Now, for example, in the case of Somnath Temple, when the then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru tried to dissuade Babu Rajendra Prasad, the president, nobody realized that it was not only temple associated with Hinduism, it was a part of India's heritage. It had a much larger heritage. So we confined ourselves, and maybe there was some, subconscious political interest lying in that. But the same gentlemen and same people, you find them visiting temples around the election time.
Correct. And then on the end, overturned the Shabano judgment.
So, see, the point is, I think it's being gradually realized and increasingly realized that a person who is truly religious, whatever be his religion, will have reverence, respect for all religions.
All religions.
So, a truly practicing Hindu will also be fair to the other religions. Unlike, this is rather a hypocrisy of religion, not the religion as such. Just to add to you, we hold these Labharthi Sammelans, just to learn from the beneficiaries. So many a time in this Mahila Labharthi Sammelans, I asked them, I said, see, the gas cylinder was given depending on your requirement. Did anybody ask you what is your caste, what is your religion, or did they even ask you whether you voted for BJP or not? And in one voice, everybody says no.
No.
So that's why Prime Minister Modi has tried to cultivate a culture which is above all.
Do you believe there is over-dependence on Prime Minister Narendra Modi? Can this team, this governance, this entire unit function without Prime Minister Narendra Modi, or is Prime Minister Narendra Modi too much of an overarching factor that there is over-dependence? Because that's also not healthy. Dr. Jitendra Singh, and then...
No, I feel the other way. See, if we have someone like Prime Minister Modi, the tallest leader in the world today, undisputedly, the senior-most leader in the world today, a leader to whom the other countries look up to for cues and also for clues. What is the harm in making the best of him? We have an asset. And I think, I'm not saying this only as a BJP Karyakarta, as a citizen of India. There is lot much to learn from him and also to be benefited from him. And having said that, I would also add that Prime Minister Modi has the capacity to carry team with him. Murli ji will bear me out. We have these meetings, Council of Ministers. The meetings last for 6 hours, 7 hours. He would just keep listening for 2 hours and then come out with a view, which would rather be like a view of a resource person rather than a Prime Minister. He would allow Murli ji to talk for 2 hours and then add to what he said. Where Murli ji will also go back thinking, that, okay, this could also have been. So he is actually developing a team, and he has actually. He is known for that. He's a very good listener and a very good resource person. So I think it's unlike several other prime ministers. I don't want to mention them. We have seen prime ministers who would wake up the president in the middle of night to sign an emergency paper.
Yeah,
I don't wish to name the prime minister. Was the cabinet consulted? We have the very first prime minister went to Akashvani Bhavan and declared unilateral ceasefire when the war was going on against Pakistan in 1947. Had he not done so, we would not have lost the part of Kashmir which is now known as POJK.
POJK, correct.
So we have seen such prime ministers. There's absolutely nothing dictatorial about him. He is developing a team and acting as their resource person. And I think it's a privilege to learn from him and to be led by him.
Technically.
No, can you imagine, Anand, this is for the first time, I think any prime minister anywhere in the world who is every month directly interacting with the chief secretaries of the states. Yes. That Pragati program.
Yeah.
Which happens last Wednesday every month. I think the first unprecedented, unheard of, because he has a huge creative mind. He's always innovative.
You're going to leave it there. Politics will happen. Sir, 2023, what to expect?
First to add to what Modi ji is saying, of course, G20 is going to be the hallmark of 2023, and it's not only going to showcase India's prowess, India's capacity, also the individual culture, because we are a heterogeneous nation. We have this unique, exclusive feature.
I will give one more suggestion. It is also a year of the millets, where small farmers will be taken.
And the year of the millets has been suggested by India. So second achievement after International Day for Yoga, which was also suggested by India and accepted by UNO. This is the second time happening during the Modi regime. So, and I think G20, now that India is part of a global world, the parameters of growth are global, the challenges are global, the concerns are global, the redressal of these challenges also has to be with a global effort. Prime Minister Modi has shown the way of integration, synergism to the whole world. And 2023 is going to vindicate, as I said, world is ready to be led by India. Globe is ready to be led by India. And this is an occasion for us to vindicate ourselves that yes, we are under Modi ready for that role. And as 23 comes to end, there will be huge excitement about 24 when our Gaganyaan is going to, land its first Indian through an indigenous mission on the surface of the moon.
2023 comes to a close. We're also going to see Ram Mandir will happen. And then, of course, the entire crescendo build up to 2024. V. Muralidharanji, Dr. Jitendra Singh, wonderful having this conversation.
Thank you, Anand, and thanks for bringing us together.
Yeah, Happy New Year, and thank you very much.